So going into this, how early does Gabe get there? Or is he fashionably late?
He definitely wants to be on time. He's a good 15 minutes early.
Nice. So once you get up past the security, you show him your ID, you prove that you're Kindred, all that jazz. You wander around the prince's hallway for a few minutes or so before the door to her office opens and she appears. Prince Tabitha is dressed to the tens. She's wearing a very elegant dress, complete with a diamond jewelry set of bracelet, necklace, earrings. Very bedazzled.
Bedazzled? Like with a bedazzler? Sorry.
Ooh, no, because that would be tacky to her, but that's something that I love. No, she's just very shiny.
Okay.
She looks at you, Gabe, and gives you a very warm smile. Oh, hello, you must be, Gabe, right? Here for the interview.
Yes, madam, that is me. Good evening.
Good evening. So lovely to make your acquaintance. She offers you her hand.
Gabe will uncomfortably and a little bit jerkily reach out his hand to shake hers.
She shakes it and escorts you inside. It's a very beautiful office with bookshelves and file cabinets and a very beautiful ornate Rococo desk set.
Nice.
She takes her place across from you and opens up a file with your name on it. Looking through, she clears her voice, or she clears her throat, and looks at you. Gabe, so lovely to officially meet you. I hope getting here was all right.
Yes, no worries. I was very careful to get here on time.
Oh, good to hear it. So first off, going into this, please.
Sorry, may I sit down?
Oh, yes, of course, please.
Okay, Gabe's gonna sit down.
I love that.
Perched very gently on the seat. Like if he could stand up at a moment's notice if need be.
She smiles at that and continues on. So, first and foremost, can you please tell me about your embrace and how it shaped you as a kindred?
Well, there was this woman, you see, who started showing up to Saturday evening church, and well, we got to talking a while, and she needed some counseling, and so I offered to counsel her, and turns out she was trying to bring me under her wing rather than the reverse, I suppose. And she ended up embracing me. It was a little awkward. I'm not gonna lie. I was not expecting that one bit. And she, well, I guess she was trying to get me to just be, I mean, I'm sorry, this sounds crude, but I mean, she wanted me to be a butcher, just turn that church into a slaughterhouse and, let all those good God-fearing Christians, be drained of all their life. I just could not do that, and, we really did not get along. That was an ugly business, and, yeah, I guess I'm very, wary of other kindred because of that experience.
She nods. That's completely understandable. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Unfortunately, not every kindred gets an easy embrace, but I hope that you're able to work past it and see the better side of our society.
Well, there certainly are many sides to it.
She nods again, jots something down in the file. Now, next question. What did you do before your embrace, and has that changed since?
Well, like I said before, I was a pastor down at 3rd Baptist on 17th Street. I'm still a pastor there. My duties, however, have changed to encompass more of the evening services, things like that. I do not go to Sunday church anymore, not Sunday morning church, that is. Sunday evening there's a little get together, but it's a small one. Most people come on Wednesday night or Saturday night. So it's changed some. My schedule mostly. That's about it.
She looks very surprised. So you're a man of the cloth. Good to know.
Well, yes. Yep.
Another question for you then. How do you feel about your clan since you've gotten embraced and your place inside of it?
Well, I feel like I'm walking on thin ice here a little bit. So I'm a member of Clan Ventru, and not to cast any aspersions or anything, ma'am, but I see a lot of, the other kindred that I know of Clan Ventru, all they want is power. They just want to control people, and that just don't sit right with me. It just makes me sick. They just want to control people and take over their lives and turn them into slaves, and that is just wrong. As for the Camarilla, well, what are the options? There's Camarilla. They want to make sure that the killing doesn't go public. And then there's, what are they called again? I always forget. So many names in this. Oh, come on. I'm sorry. I'm very new to Vampire Society. A lot of these things, I cannot remember all the names all the time. The Sabbat, that was it, the Sabbat. Well, they just want to murder everyone, just like openly. So it's a choice between secretive murder or open murder. I guess I'll go with secretive murder. I don't like that. I suppose I feel like I can be a conscious dissenter within Camarilla, more so than Sabbat, but that's about all I can say. I'm not happy with it, but I'm just a little man.
I think we found your botched presentation, my dude. She looks very disappointed in that. It kind of jots a few more things down. I'm really sorry that you feel that way about, first of all, Clan Ventru, she gestures to herself, as well as the Camarilla, but hopefully you come to find that we are the better of the two options. Some would argue that Anarchs are a third, but I honestly don't think that they would ever really amount to much. They'd just turn into a slightly more secretive Sabbat.
Well, it's option A, option B, or option of not taking an option. That's the way I see it, so.
She nods. That's fair enough, I suppose. Another question for you then. What do you feel are some of your biggest strengths as a kindred?
Well, just by my personality, I'm very influential. I have some strength in the ability to influence other people, whether that be individually or en masse, as it were. And I don't like it, but it kind of comes with the territory. I am able to dominate people on occasion, although I don't practice that one too much. As for, I would say, my strongest point, as it may or may not be clear by now, I am a true believer in Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, who died for our sins. And for me, that's the lens through which I view the entire world, is try to be Christ-like. So I feel like that's my strongest point there. Otherwise, let's see here. I guess we can go on to weaknesses. In terms of vampiric things, well, maybe you can tell my fangs are not particularly sharp. They're quite dull. They're basically just big teeth, slightly bigger teeth rather. And I've really got a very soft heart. I cannot abide watching people be harmed. What else have I got? Well, I really try as much as I can to abstain from the consumption of, blood. But when I do, I only take from God's chosen, from truly believing Christians. I will not take from anyone else. And this last one, okay, well, I'm very new, for one thing. So I don't know people. I don't have the connections that people like yourself may have. But the last one, this may sound a little silly, and really it don't mean anything. But I just really don't like garlic. It's nothing to do with being a vampire. I don't like it. I've got sensitive taste buds. Got sensitive sense of smell. I just really don't like garlic. That is way too strong for me. I think that about wraps everything up.
Amazing. I love it. As you start talking about your strengths, she seems very intrigued and, very open. But as you, literally the second you say, as for weaknesses, she looks incredibly surprised. Because yes, that was a question she was going to ask, but the fact that you volunteered so readily it kind of makes you stand out a bit to her. She writes that down in your file and continues to, you just kind of nod along. You can tell she's a little closed off. Her body posture is just crossing her arms, turning away from you a little bit. And when you get to the garlic part, she seems truly bewildered. Pardon me, Gabe, but you're aware now that you're kindred, you can't eat anymore, correct? The garlic isn't an issue. That's strictly for the living.
Well, I can still smell that, and I just cannot stand that smell. Ugh.
She's looking at you like you have two heads, but nods politely and just straightens herself up a bit. Well, okay, moving on, I suppose. Do you have any strengths that aren't related to your powers as a kindred? Would you say you are proficient in something from when you were mortal?
Well, relatively. I'm a people person, so I do well with people generally, either one-on-one, in individual relationships, or public speaking as a group. I mean, I am a minister, so I'm used to preaching, Sunday gospel, all of that, and I don't mean to be, what's the word? It sounds full of myself, but I can give a good speech. I can get a crowd to, I wouldn't say be rowdy. I can rouse a crowd is maybe the better word for it. And I do hold some sway within my congregation. I mean, not that I've been there for long. I'm not very, I'm relatively young as a minister, but I do hold influence there. People know me. I know the people. They're good people.
Good to hear it. As a Ventru, I guess that comes naturally to you.
Well, it's all about using what I have to do the best in the world that I can do.
She gives you a very soft smile at that. Another thing, I guess, moving on. As someone who believes in God as a Christian kindred, would you say your faith has impacted your nature as a vampire? She does air quotes. Or vice versa?
Well, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, all of my exposure to Kindred society thus far has, it's exposed a lot of people who are very un-Christ-like, and I do my best to follow the path of Christ. On occasion, I do try to push others around me to do so as well, although I recognize that I do not hold much influence within this society to which we both belong, not at this juncture, at the very least. As for the impact of my condition on my faith, it certainly has led me to see everything in a new light. I won't lie, I was very, I had some dark times right after I was embraced, but it got better. I kind of figured out how to reconcile the two. Did you know there's an ancient group of Christians in Anatolia that's in Turkey nowadays, but in Anatolia they an ancient group of Christians who they would actually have a form of, for lack of better words, ritual cannibalism. And of course, this was denounced by several of the various church councils that were called back in the 400s or whatever. But I don't know how wrong they were. Maybe that was a group of kindred there who were doing the best they could to be right by Jesus, and also survive, because after all we are slaves to our bodies in a certain way. So
She nods in agreement. Yes, that makes sense, I suppose. That's a very interesting way of looking at it. Back to business, I would like to ask you, why do you think I should hire you over any other kindred? What is something that only Gabe can bring to this?
Well, overall I would say I'm a peaceful soul. So if you are looking for a less violent resolution to this issue, I would be your man, for one. Or not man, I don't know. Well, that's another question for another time. I try to do things clean, and if you bring me on, you can trust me to do the right thing. I am a good Christian man. I do what is necessary. I'm an honest man. I'm a good man. That's all I can say, really.
She gives you a bit of a questioning look at that, but nods and writes a few more things down. She turns for a moment, just kind of reflecting before coming back to you. Now, Gabe, I think we're close to done here, but one last thing. Is there anything else I should know about you? And when she says that, her voice turns icy and her eyes get cold, like almost glazed over, and she just kind of stares directly into your own eyes, and it sends shivers down your spine.
Well, I don't believe so, ma'am. As I've said, I'm a very honest man. I feel like I have been very forthright with you tonight. I ain't got nothing to hide. So, may I go now, please? Are we finished?
She nods and stands up, walks over to your side of the desk, and escorts you out slowly. Well, Gabe, thank you so much for coming and answering all of my questions. I really appreciate your time and the fact that you're interested in this. Do you have any questions for me before you leave?
No, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Of course, I'm more than happy to give it. Please have a lovely night and stay safe on your way home. She gently closes the door and leaves you out in the hallway.
Gabe is nervous. He's like shaking. I think he runs his fingers through his hair a couple times, just pats down his clothes, walks away slowly, but not too slow. He wants to get out of here.
So, when would you say Patrick shows up to the interview? On time, a little early, a little late? What's his style?
I think Patrick is like a blue-collar worker, so he's used to like just going to a series of interviews and getting rejected. So he's just like, just in case he's going to get there, like not super early, like probably like 5 to 10 minutes early, just so he gets a good view of the place and knows where he's supposed to go beforehand. Because I don't think looking clueless and like a dumbass is what he intends. So he's gonna arrive like 5 minutes early and just like wait by wherever he's supposed to be waiting.
Okay, so you get there, and after showing your identification, proving your kindred, all the red tape nonsense.
I show my fangs as necessary, as required.
The guards do allow you to go up the elevator to the prince's office, and you wander around. You look at the beautiful floral arrangements, some of the pictures she has on the wall of scenery or of people, before you hear the door in the hallway open, and before you stands Prince Tabitha. She's very elegant, very classy, dressed to the tens for this.
Oh, damn.
What's Patrick wearing?
So Patrick is wearing his formal attire, which means his least stained white shirt. Over that is like a comfortable flannel. That's like actually that one is actually well taken care of. He's wearing dark jeans and work boots. His clean pair of work boots actually. And also for these, I do think he has the little necklace he has with a werewolf fang just like out and in full display.
Very cool.
I think it's because like Patrick knows that Gangrel worked through boasting and bragging, so he's never been to a lot of Camarilla like city folk stuff. So he's just going to try to mix it up a little, but also kind of work with what he knows.
Okay, nice.
But speaking of mixing it up a little, I think as he sees the prince, he gives a slight, like very clumsily, I think, just bow, like just like fold at the waist, like 45-degree angle, kind of like more of like sort of like between an inclination and a bow, because he's not sure what the etiquette is in this case.
She looks very appreciative at that as she smiles at you. Oh, you must be Patrick. It's so lovely to meet you.
Yes, I must say that pleasure is all mine.
She takes your hand and she shakes it. She goes, oh, please. Oh, you flatter me. Oh. She escorts you inside to this very elegant office of bookshelves and like Rococo-style desks and chairs. And she goes to her side of the desk, opens up a file with your name on it, and looks up at you. So, Patrick, first of all, I hope you didn't have any trouble getting here. Everything went okay?
Oh, no, it was fine. Actually, I was surprised to find parking spaces open. Middle of the city, it's not something I'm used to.
Oh, that's completely understandable. We do try to keep some spaces open by any means necessary. She gives you kind of like a look. You aren't quite sure what it means, but...
Yes, I think Patrick is definitely nervous, but he just tries to smile and says, nice, that's good.
Yes, parking spaces. Every Kindred's top need.
Listen, if you have a van, if you have a pickup truck, you need to put it somewhere.
She looks through your profile and glances back up at you. So, Patrick, first off, I'd like to know more. Can you tell me more about your embrace and how it's shaped you as a Kindred?
Oh, starting out strong, huh? Well, I'd say that it was embraced as a gift, though I don't know if I saw it like that at the time. My sire was in a spot of trouble at the time, and I helped him out of it. Next thing I know, the big cat I was helping out of below a tree turned into a full-on person and then just bit me in the neck. So, not entirely expected, I'd say, but it was probably the best thing that happened to me while I was alive.
She looks actually kind of surprised at that. Oh, so you would say being embraced was one of the better parts of your existence, for lack of a better word.
Yes, I think it helped me discover a lot of things that I didn't know could be done. Also, staying in sort of good physical condition for a while is going to be nice.
She nods. Yes, immortality and not aging does have its benefits.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do before you were embraced, and has that changed at all?
Oh, well, I don't think this is going to be a very exciting answer, but I used to work at a logging company as a crane operator, moving logs from the place where they get cut to the trucks was the last position I held there. After the embrace, I couldn't really keep doing that since it was mostly a daytime hours job. But I had made some friends in the company, so I applied for the position as a night guard. Luckily for me, came to fruition, and I've just been working as one ever since.
She nods. That's excellent to hear. It's nice to know that you have some sort of employment. Now, well, how do you feel about your clan, the Gangrel, and your place inside of it?
At this, Patrick I think, he was kind of like sitting a bit straight and tense up until now, and I think now he's a bit talking about something he's more comfortable in talking about, so he just kind of leans back a little bit more and just relaxes. And he goes, well, the Gangrel, at least, well, the country folk we're an isolated bunch. I don't think I have actually seen my sire in 5 years since the last conclave. But I do enjoy, swapping stories with them whenever I meet or cross paths with another one. I think our ideas of how to interact with one another are good, It's more of based on merit and what you've done, and I do quite enjoy that.
She writes some stuff down in your file and looks back up at you. That's really good to hear. I'm glad that you're enjoying it so far. But how would you feel about being more intact with the Camarilla? How would you feel about interacting with us more?
Well, I must say, the clan in general seems mostly positive about the Camarilla. Oh, and most everything that I've heard is just good things. And the past few weeks I've been living in your city have been actually pretty nice. I don't have any complaints. I must say I don't truly know too much about the Camarilla, but I look forward to working within it and working for you.
She gives you a genuine smile. Oh, that's excellent to hear. I'm glad to hear that you have some positivity coming into this.
Gotta keep an open mind, huh?
Oh, very true. That's so refreshing to hear. Moving on, what would you say are some of your greatest strengths as a kindred?
Well, I don't rightly know the proper names and all, but my sire did taught me a little bit of the stuff he could do, mainly changing my body, growing claws, seeing better in the dark. I've also noticed that my resilience and speed in and out of fights was greatly improved after the embrace. Even more than other kindred I've met. Also, I don't rightly know if this counts, but I've been told I'm a bit intimidating to approach. I'm assuming it's and that this Patrick kind of gestures at his face. That's has more than a good number of scars crisscrossed across it. I assume it's the scars and the height.
Okay, good to know. I will admit that you did give me a little bit of a fright when I first saw you, but I do like your disposition. Now moving on, I'm sorry, I know no one likes to answer this, but what would you say some of your biggest weaknesses are?
Oh, I think probably my biggest weakness is that I don't really know much of what's going on here. As I stated previously, the Gangrel are pretty reclusive, and I haven't been to many meetings with them, so I haven't been able to actually learn a lot about what the situation is, even in cities like this. I've heard by my sire that I should be careful about losing control. He said some traits of the animal might remain if I lose control. I don't really know what he meant, but that's what he said.
At that, she kind of cocks her head and looks a little concerned. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you didn't get a formal education, although that is very common for gangrels. I'll be sure to have your teammates fill you in on anything that you need to know. If they fail to do so, let me know, and I'll try to find someone to help you out. She's scribbling something on a post-it note nearby and placing it on your file.
That'd be much appreciated. I know I have some catch-up to do in that area, and I'd actually enjoy some help with that.
Okay, well, what strengths would you say you have that aren't related to your powers as a kindred?
I've always gone along well with animals, which I know is a bit of a problem for some some kindred I've known. I know which way to point a shotgun to, not kill myself, which I'd say is useful. And I'm very, very accomplished at tracking and keeping myself hidden. I've also, even before the embrace, was well versed on brawling and fighting, mostly hand-to-hand combat. And that has only, I assure you, increased in the years since the embrace. Going outside of mainly physical stuff, I did take a course on first aid at some point, like some 30 odd years ago, but I still remember most of it. Have as I've stated, a job, so keeping myself afloat is not much of an issue. I recently bought a house, and as stated, I do have some contacts in that company I work for.
That's excellent to hear. You seem like you have a very good head on your shoulders, Patrick. I'd like to see it kept that way. And she gives you a soft giggle at that.
Patrick chuckles and says, you and me both, I think.
Now, another question that I know some people dread answering. Why do you think I should pick you over any other kindred? What's something that only Patrick can bring to the table?
I think Patrick leans in, he sits up a bit straighter because he was leaned back, and he scratches his beard a little bit and goes, I'm strong, I'm fast, I'm reliable in the fight, or tracking any person you need tracked. I'll also make sure to do the job and not ask you too many inconvenient questions about it, which I know some people don't enjoy. And honestly, I think I would be a good fit here because I know I've been described as not exactly the brightest light bulb, but I know what I'm doing on a fight. I know how to get along with people passably well. So I know that I'd be a great addition to any team that works that you'd assemble.
She writes some more things down. She looks very pleased with that. That's excellent to hear. Now, I just have a quick technical question. You are one of the older-looking Kindred here. Do you think that would impact your performance at all?
I think at this, Patrick visibly winces. Patrick's not very good at keeping a lot of feelings under the table when he's not especially trying to. He kind of winces at that and tries to laugh it off and says, well, it was a bit disappointing, really. Most Kindred I've met, as you've pointed out, tend to be on the younger side of things. Luckily for me, the most disadvantages that usually come with old age are kind of superseded by, the embrace. I feel stronger and faster and more I wouldn't say alive, but more energetic than I've ever felt when I was alive. I must say it did take me a little bit of time to come to terms that I was going to have I was going to have a non-particularly well cared for beard for the rest of my own life, but there's not much to it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it doesn't seem like it'll cause any major problems.
Mm-hmm.
I do think you're a very strong candidate, Patrick, but just one last thing. Is there anything else I should know about you? And with that, her eyes turn kind of glassy and her voice gets very cold.
I think Patrick gets super caught off guard by this, because I think she did a very good job at putting him in a sense of security, and then this display will just kind of pull the rug from under him. And I think at that moment, Patrick kind of looks a little bit like a child in school when the teacher asks you, now you know what you've done, and you don't know what you've done, but you think, oh shit, I must have done something for them to be asking this. So Patrick kind of racks his brain for a bit. I think he takes a full 30-second stop just thinking about it. Then he looks at the prince and says, Not to my knowledge, no.
At that, like her entire demeanor just snaps back to how it was before. Oh, that's good to hear. I'm so glad. Now, she stands up and comes to your side of the desk, offering you a hand to help you up, and slowly escorting you to the door. Is there anything else? Is there anything you would like to ask me? Anything in particular before we say goodbye for the evening?
He straightens up and tries to, like, at first go for the, oh, there's nothing really. I look forward to working with you. And then he kind of stops himself for a second, cocks his head, and goes, are you fully sure that my recentness in joining the city won't be too much of an issue? Or in any case, if you have any way you could point me to remedy any lack of information, even, something I could be doing before I meet the other people would be appreciated.
She actually looks kind of surprised at that. Oh, well, I appreciate your gumption for this. I don't think you have to worry an awful lot about being new to the city or to Kindred society as a whole. Another potential applicant who looks very promising, he's pretty new as well. So, you two could learn together, but if you want to do some independent research... She runs back to her desk.
I think in the moment she turns around, Patrick kind of like deflates a little bit. He's been kind of like keeping in that gut, trying to like look a bit more imposing than he is. And then as soon as she does, like, kind of like gives a rest. And then as she turns around, he's like he goes by to like going imposing posture.
I love that. She writes some things down on a piece of paper and comes back and hands it to you. You notice it's a few addresses. But these people are all... They work very closely with me. There's some people in the Tremere. They might not be the friendliest, but they'll certainly be willing to help you. And this one here, this is my... one of my barons, and this is another one of my close associates. All of these people are more than willing to help you understand your place in Kindred society. If you would like a gangrel specifically, she points to the last name on the list. He's very skilled. He's one of the better-known gangrels in the area. He might be a little difficult to find, but I'm sure someone like you will have no problem with that.
Patrick at that smiles. He gives a nod to the prince and says, "Thank you very much, my prince." And then remembering that his kind of awkward half-ball bow actually had a good reaction, as he like leaves, he kind of like does it, like takes her hand, like shakes her hand, and then does that, like the half bow again. "Thank you, my prince."
Oh, you're welcome. I'm always happy to help. She gently escorts you out the door and waves at you as she closes it, leaving you to leave the building and go back home for the night.
I think Patrick, as soon as he gets to the car, he just fucking sinks his head on, like, just face plants onto his klaxon. Just like, regroups for a second there and then leaves.
I love that. That's, oh my gosh.